your cameras. We do share our recordings, videos later on our social media. So if you go to Whiteboard.chat, you can find all the links to our social media and our YouTube channel here on the top left. And you can find the recording of this webinar as well as for the other webinars, the advanced webinars that we do. Again, thank you for joining me today. If you have questions, I request you to please type them out on chat, and then periodically I'll go over them. And if you want a PD certificate for this webinar, you can email us at the email I just typed on the chat, or it's on the bottom right here, feedback@whiteboard.chat, and then we'll give you a PD certificate for this webinar as well. So Whiteboard.chat basically is a web-based platform. It works on any browser. It works on any device. It works on mobile phones. It works on Chromebooks, on tablets, whatever you want, right? And even mobile phones, small mobile phones. There are two modes Whiteboard.chat works in. One is a collaboration board, which is like any other whiteboard out there. But in collaboration mode, the students can erase each other's work. They can copy off each other's work just like any other whiteboard. But we are going to talk about this teaching mode, which is the start class, where you can create, assign, and live teach individual student boards. You can also make groups, small student groups, which we cover in our advanced webinar, where the students can collaborate with each other, but the teacher still has a lot more control as to what the students can do, and they cannot erase each other's work even when they're in a group session. To get started, you can just click the Start Class button. You don't need to log in unless you want to save your work. So just click the Start Class button and you get started. Right. So this is the main whiteboard screen. On the left-hand side is our main toolbar here. If you don't recognize the tools, you can open this by clicking this top hamburger menu, right? And then it'll open up, and then you can see what all of these submenus do. Whiteboard.chat has over 200 different teacher design features in it. So it gets a little overwhelming at times. So one thing we recommend new users to do is click the settings icon on the top right. It'll ask you to log in. You can log in with your Google account, or you can create an account. And then turn on this starter mode, right? If you turn on the starter mode, it simplifies everything to the bare minimum that you use to get familiar with the platform. Once you're familiar with it, then you can go back and turn it off, right? Then you can explore more and more features. You can also set here for the students to simplify it very, very to the bare minimums, where they just have 4 tools: a drawing tool, a writing tool, an erase tool, and a moving tool. So you can actually do that too, especially for young kids. It helps them to get accumulated to the platform. So that said, how most teachers use the platform is by uploading content. So the way you upload content is go to the toolbar, click this upload button. You can upload files from your computer, from Google Drive. You can also use your webcam or your phone as a scanner to take photos and upload stuff directly. But most teachers, what they do is they use upload file from their computer or from the Google Drive. So I'm going to upload a PDF, a worksheet that has multiple pages. So I find that worksheet, I upload it. And for each, and then I can start annotating on it, right? So I can start drawing on it. I can start typing on it if I want to. And for each page in the PDF, Whiteboard.chat creates a page inside. So there are multiple pages on the left side here. You can see there's page numbers 1, 2, 3. You can click this little thumbnail view to directly jump to a different page or reorder pages if you want to. And once you have uploaded content, you have created instructions, you can invite students. So this is an important step. To invite students, use this top right invite button. So if you click that button, you can invite them directly using the Google Classroom, or you can invite them through Teams, or you can just share this link. So this link is the invite link. You can put this in your LMS, or you can share it in chat. And when the students click this link, so I'll open a mock student. Right? They'll be asked for a name. Students don't need an account to log in. They'll just need a name to identify themselves to the teacher. Right? And then the student gets a copy of the teacher's board. Right? And they can immediately start drawing, writing on it. They can start typing on it. Right? But they cannot erase the teacher's work. So whatever the teacher has put in, right, they cannot erase it. They can erase their own work, but they cannot erase the teacher's work. And they cannot move the teacher's work. So they cannot disrupt the class. Right? And on the teacher's side, basically, they can go into this, what we call this grid view. This is the cool feature of Whiteboard.chat. And you can watch the students as if there is a camera on each student's shoulder, and you can watch them as they're working live with the session. So you can see the student, which page they are on. You can set it to be teacher paced as well, but you can see what the student is doing, which page they're on, and the teacher can actually join them one-on-one. So you can go here, you can click the little join button. Right? You can join them one-on-one on their page, and then you can work one-on-one with them. You can tell them, hey, good job, or pay attention to something. You can even give them stickers. We have over 2,000 different stickers. We have seasonal stickers. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. So you can give them a sticker. We put these seasonal stickers in there as well. And then you can go back and watch the rest of the class as they're working through the lesson. So that's all really you need to know about using Whiteboard.chat. This is all the functions: uploading content from here, inviting students from there, and going into grid view. That's 90% of the teachers just use this much, right? But like I said, there are hundreds of other features like timers and stuff which I will show you as well. But this is all you really need to know. The first 5 minutes is what you really need to know about the platform. And if you have any questions about any of these things I talked about, I'll be happy to repeat it one more time. So just let me know. Either, I think it's a small group today, so either you can unmute or you can type on chat if you want me to repeat something. Right. So, okay, so then I'll continue. You can upload PowerPoints. You can upload, so PowerPoints you have to convert to PDF. So you can just download as PDF or from your PowerPoint and upload it directly. It'll upload. If you have Google Slides, it's a lot easier. You can just go to upload files from Google. It'll ask you which account, and you can just go to presentations and upload directly from here. Right? So you can upload slides directly, and for each slide it will create a page on Whiteboard.chat as well. All right, so those are the basic functions. Now again, remember the rest of the things you don't need to use. I will show you some of these anyways. It does get a little overwhelming, so I just wanted to give you the bare minimums first. So we'll start from the toolbar on the left, from the drawing tools. So from the drawing tools, you see that you can have a pencil where you can draw, or a pen where you can change colors. So if you change the colors, the whole, you have millions of colors to choose from. The whole frame changes. Some kids love it. Some teachers love it. Some teachers don't. You can change that in the settings if you don't want the frame to change. Most of the kids, they really like it. Right? You can draw lines. You can draw arrows. You can draw curves, double arrows, shapes. right? Different shapes. The triangle is kind of special, where you can actually specify angles for two of the sides, two of the vertices, and it'll draw a nice triangle for you. Right? You can use this in conjunction with things like our manipulatives library, where we actually have protractors, or whatever you think you can use, right? So you can make really nice lessons out of it. We have a magic drawing mode as well, so this is pretty cool. If you're drawing something, it uses AI to try and figure out what you're drawing. Like, for example, if I'm trying to draw a house, it will say, oh, okay, I can give you a better version of a house, right? And then you can pick that one instead, right? And then you can, of course, move it around, make it smaller, right? Using the move and resize tool. You can even animate objects. Any objects that you put on the screen, you can animate them. You can say, use the select tool here. You can select that object. You can say animate it, animate, move it around, or you can rotate it, whichever way. And you can make your lessons or drawings more interesting. So those are the drawing tools here. On the text side, it's super easy to use. You can just click here. You can type anywhere that puts a little text box, and you can resize by dragging this little corner here, and you can keep putting text anywhere, on top of PDFs, on top of images, on top of anywhere that you want to, right? So that's a simple way to do it. There's also handwriting recognition built into the platform. So if you write something using it does that in over 100 different languages, handwriting in different languages. But if I were to pick English, right, so you can actually pick English as well. Yeah, you can move the text boxes. So anything you can move. So if you click this little move and resize, you can just pick up the text that you put on the screen, and you can move it to a different place if you want to. So it's easy to move as well. So you can move text, and then you can re-edit it. If you want to edit it, you can click this guy again, and even this I can edit. So by default, anything, so there's a question, can the students move the protractor? By default, anything that the teachers put on the screen, the students cannot manipulate, but you can give them the ability to move stuff around. So you can actually use the select tool. You can go here and you can click that protractor. You can say enable student move or enable student clone. Right? So if you say enable student move, then the students can just use the move and resize tool to move it around as well. And then you can, of course, rotate it. We actually recently added this feature for a teacher where she wanted the ability to move, pivot from a different part of the image, not from the center. So you can actually move the pivot point as well if you want it. So I have a hard time getting rid of the eraser and line. So eraser, you can, so you just click the eraser once and the eraser comes up. You erase, you can continue erasing all the objects. And once you're done erasing, then you go to a different mode, right? So then it will just start to do. So you think of it like you're picking up a tool, you're using it as much as you want to, and then you are putting it back and picking up another tool. Right? So that's how you would do the eraser. Same with the lines. If you're drawing a line, you click once, you draw where you want to, and click again. Right? So that's how you draw lines as well. So click, everything is a click. You can add multiple PDFs too. So basically, you can either start from page number. If you want the second PDF to start from page number 4, you go to page number 4 and upload the second PDF. Or you want them to overlap on the same pages, you can do that as well. So you can add multiple PDFs too. You can also copy paste images like from Google Drive if you want, right? So So you can just drag and drop images from there. It will show up on Whiteboard.chat. You can even do that with chips, if you will. You can put any objects you can drag and drop and put on your whiteboard as well. Again, so it's super easy to use both from a teacher's perspective and student's perspective. Can students zoom? Yeah, students have the ability to zoom, so they can zoom in. You can use the two finger. It depends on which device they are on. You can use the zoom tools here. There's also this pan tool that you can use to move around and zoom in and out, so that they can do that. And another thing, that if the students are using a small screen device like a mobile device, we recommend that you go to the settings and change the default screen size to tiny. And if you change the screen size to tiny, it auto zooms on the mobile device. So actually they see the full screen view of the whole whiteboard. So they do not need to zoom in and out unless they want to interact with a certain section. So they see the full screen. And another cool thing is that if they do get lost, this little button comes up at the bottom which says go to top, and it resets it. So if they scroll down or if they move around, they can just click this and then it'll reset. Even if they scroll around, that happens. So that helps. Right. So like I was saying, you can set it to teacher page. So there's a question, how do you make sure the students are on the same page as you? So if you click this participant panel, so you click these little round figures, avatars of yourself, right? You can set it to follow teacher mode. If you set to follow teacher mode, you see this little dialog here. So make sure it's on follow teacher. And as you flip the pages, the student also flips automatically to the page you're in. So that sets it to teacher page. So you can make sure they are on the same page as you. And of course, you can always check the grid view, because again, remember, you can see the students live as if there's a camera on their shoulders. So you can see what they're looking at, what they're working on. Right? So you can see that here as well. Right, so those are the text. There's a really rich math editor built into the Whiteboard.chat as well. Let me increase the size of the font. So this math editor is pretty cool. Right? You can write equations, you can write you can see the steps the students are using to do the equation, solving the equations. To get help, there's a little help icon here. So if you click this help, there are several things here. You can look at this getting started with teaching video. There are webinar trainings. There are top 100 features. This is useful. There's a teacher's guide, there's a student guide, and a math input guide. So the math input guide is quite robust. It has how you can type out quadratic equations, polynomials, fractions, summations, integration, trigonometry, all of that stuff. It's all of those things you can do using the math editor, and you can find it in the help here. Again, those are the writing tools. Next is the eraser. So there are two types of erasers. One is an object eraser, basically, which erases everything, whatever it touches. So if you want to erase this, it'll erase it. Right? And the other one is a whiteout tool. So it's just white ink, really. Right? So you can erase parts of the board and draws in white on top of it. Upload things I showed you. You can upload files. You can upload from Google Drive. You can upload Bingo, which I will show you at the end. You can use your phone as a scanner, which is pretty cool. So you can actually take photos with your phone, right? And it'll upload, like if I use my phone and scan this QR code, I can attach my phone as a device onto the whiteboard, right? And then I can just take photos of work that I'm doing as a teacher with the or as a student, right? So you can say upload picture, take photo. So if I'm doing work with a piece of paper and pen, right? I can just upload it directly or worksheets directly onto whiteboard.chat. And then you can just correct it right there. All the work gets saved in the cloud, right? The students get a copy automatically, all of that. So it makes it really easy to use even when you're using real pen and paper with the platform. So to invite the students, so use this button on the top right. So you see this little invite button on the top right. So you click that invite button. You can invite them if you use Google Classroom. You can just click this link. It'll open your Google Classroom. And then you can check which class and whether you want this to be an assignment or a material. You can do it right from here. Same with Teams, Microsoft Teams. Or you can just copy this link and share it with the students by putting it on your LMS, or you can even give them this classroom code, or they can scan the QR code. So there are multiple ways to invite the students, but all of them are in this little invite button on the top right. Yes, so the way you save your work, you can save copies of your work. So for example, I call this thing webinar, right? So webinar March 17. And then you can save copies. So you can say save a copy. You can send copies to other teachers as well. So if you send a copy to other teachers who are at the same grade level as you, they, as soon as they click the link, that link, it will create a copy for them to use in their class without any of your students' work. And it will basically create a copy from that point onwards, and will fork it so that whatever they do on their board doesn't get reflected on yours. Right? Or you can save copies. So what most teachers do is they create a base board, which is a template, and for each class or each section, they create a webinar March 17 section A, right? And then they can use the different section classes to teach. So you can actually create. So you can see this is the first board, right? And then this is the section A, which doesn't have any students. All the student work gets saved automatically. The teacher doesn't need to be connected. The students can continue working on their whiteboard unless the teacher locks it, right? And they can keep using it. And the work automatically gets saved in the cloud. So you don't have to look at anything. All the work gets saved on its own. Of course, the students can download their work as PDF as well. The teacher can download the work from this little cloud icon on the top for the whole class as well. And you can submit it if you want to, but once teachers do get familiar with the platform, they don't require them to submit it. They can just signal using raising their hand saying I'm finished, right? And that's it. So then the teacher comes to know that the student is done, and they can grade their work, or they can look at their work as they're done. And this list is automatically sorted in chronological order as the students raise their hand. There are timers built into the platform as well. So you can actually start a timer. You can say how many minutes. You can auto lock the board after the timer finishes. So if you want to give them like a 30-minute activity, you can just say auto lock. And then once the timer starts, it'll walk through the timer. And once the timer finishes, it'll lock the board so they cannot edit it anymore. Oh, yes. So the languages, whiteboard.chat works really, really nicely with a lot of languages. So so I'll show you some of the language features of the platform. So first one is the chat. So if you enable chat on whiteboard.chat, you go to the participant panel. You can say create chat. When you chat with the students, what happens is that it's a one-to-many. Whatever the teacher chat sends can be sent to the whole class or to a subset of the recipients. But what the students send back only goes to the teacher, nobody else, unless they're in a group setting. If they're in a group setting, then everybody will get it in that group. But the cool thing is that the students, they can actually pick the language that they want to chat in. If they don't speak the same language, like for example, I can pick Hindi, right? I find it. There you go. Right. So I can say, the teacher says, how are you? It automatically translates it to the student's language and so forth, right? So it works really nicely when you're conversing with students who do not speak the same language and they want to understand what you're saying. We have Microsoft's immersive reader built into the platform as well. So you can actually read PDFs, not only all text. The students can use the select tool and say, read an immersive reader. Right, and then this reads aloud whatever you have put in there. So, and they can pick the language as well. They can say, if you're not comfortable with English, right, you can actually choose a different language to translate the text that it is reading aloud in. So they can actually read text which is in a different language as well. So which is quite cool. We have speech to text built into the platform as well. And one unique thing about our speech to text is actually you can translate between languages as well. So that's another thing that our speech to text does. Again, I don't want to show you all of these in the basics webinar, but you can find, if you go to the help section, you go to this top 100 features, you can actually see how to do all of these things that I'm talking about. So like, for example, speech, if I look for speech to text on this thing, you can see that it will show you a small video with which how do you do speech to text transcription between different languages. And anytime you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to work with educators to learn from you. How do we improve this? How can we use video chat? So for the video chat, you actually have to get a paid plan. So we have built in, so there are two ways to chat. If you're doing one-on-one, this is a cool thing about a Whiteboard, which is still free, is that if you want to call a single student, if let's say you're in a classroom and you want to talk to one single student, you can just click this participants panel on the top and click this little call button next to their name. It will pop up a little phone. You can mute your main classroom, and then you can talk one-on-one with the student. Right? You can talk one-on-one with them, converse with them, and once you're done, you can hang up. And similarly, here there is also premium video, but for that you need a plain paid plan, which is an alternate, if you will, to Zoom, where you can do recordings, you can do whatever else you want to with the premium video calling built into the platform. So you can do that as well. Right, let me keep going down this part. There are several, so the next thing after the uploads is the tools section. Here there are several tools. I'll not show you all of them. This breakdown tool is quite interesting. So you can actually take a gizmo, like say 100 block, right? And then you can use the breakdown tool from here to break it down into smaller pieces. So it will show you how 100 breaks into tens, into ones. And you can do that not only with the with math manipulators, you can also do it with currencies too. So we have currencies from around the world. I just picked US currencies. If there's a currency that you use and we are missing, let us know, we'll add it. So $10 becomes fives, becomes ones and quarters. So it's easy to show kids how things break down using the breakdown tool. Right? We have lots and lots of manipulatives here, which are useful for teachers of different subjects, of different grade levels, which I will show you. So even we have a lot of background grids, right? So you can actually use grids, like we have college line paper, we have We have graph paper. We can do coordinate planes. Right, so you have coordinate. You can make coordinate planes. You can make music sheets even. So music teachers use this too. So you can use this in conjunction with, let's say, if you have music symbols here, right, you can actually put these. You can teach music. We have music instruments built into the platform as well. There's like a 2-octave piano, so you can use you can actually play piano on it. You can also do, there's also a xylophone that you can play music on. So there's lots and lots of things that you can do onto the platform. You can do programming. You can program robots. There's mind maps that you can create. You can do block coding. There's comic characters. There's chemistry, biology symbols. There's periodic tables. There's math things. You can do DNA construction. You can make electrical symbols, right? You can make circuits. What else? Math teachers love it, right? You have like tiles. You have math manipulatives. You have set squares, protractors, rulers. We have shapes. You have 10 frames, number bonds. You have place value disks, numicons. You have number lines. You have fraction tiles, fraction numbers, anything that you can think of, touch point numbers, it's all there. If it's not there, you let us know, we can add it. There's even a thermometer that you can teach temperature with. So there's lots and lots of tools in here. There's feedback stickers, reward stickers. So if you want to give feedback to people, you can use these as well. So you just put the stickers there, and it records whatever you're doing with the platform. Yesterday we added these 10-gram tiles as well, so you can use that to do construction work too. So of course you can turn it around, you can move them around whichever way you want to. All right, so those are the things on the left side. You can if you play Wordle, there's a Wordle version built into Whiteboard.chat we call Chatter. So you can actually either pick a word from our library, or you can put in your own word, and then you can just watch the students as they're playing Wordle on the platform. So that's pretty cool too. So you can help them and see who is winning, or what are they guessing. It's super easy to play, and you as a teacher can actually watch them as they're playing live, right? Which is quite interesting to see who finished first. And once they finish, a timestamp is put on the screen to say who finished. You can also play other games like Hangman. You can create bump games. Lots and lots of engagement features built into the platform. There's this thing called time machine, where you can, if the student is working on a problem asynchronously, you can play their board backwards and forwards in time and see how they approach the problem, how much time did they spend. So that is quite useful too. So teachers like that quite a bit. There's an infinite cloner built into the platform. You can select, crop images into the platform. All of that is in the tools section here. Move and resize, I showed you. There's a lasso to group objects together, and pan also I showed you. And any of these tools, if you want to favorite them, if you want to use, let's say, the infinite cloner again and again, you can click this little heart icon next to it, and it puts it at the top of your toolbar. So you don't have to go looking for it. You can just place it, and then you can just make copies, for example, from the infinite cloner. So that's quite useful to favorite tools that you use repeatedly. So I'll stop here for a second. I'll make a board for you, so you can join me as a student, and then you can play along with me. So what I'll do is that I'll create a bingo board. This is a popular activity on Whiteboard.chat. So you click the start class. So, so I have a PDF that you can create online on for free, right? Where you can create each page in this PDF is a different bingo tile, right? So there are multiple bingo tiles. There are different types of bingos people have created. Like there's a 13 colony bingo, which were the first 13 colonies and so forth. So educational bingos, but I'm going to use this one. It's a little more colorful. So when you go to upload from here, you can tell Whiteboard.chat you're uploading bingo, right? And then you can say animal feeling bingo. Right, and then what it does is that for each participant that joins, they'll get a random tile out of this. And I can put a spinner. So in the widgets, we have a whole bunch of things. There's a calculator, there's a graphing calculator, there's a clock, there's a colored clock, there's a compass, there's a molecule editor, there's a whole bunch of rec and rec board. There's a screen shade that you can cover parts of your screen with. There's a snake pointer. This is one of my favorite things. If you want to call out attention to a certain thing, you can do that using the snake pointer. Also, there's a spotlight, right? That's quite interesting. But there's a spinner that automatically populates with all student names as well. So you can use that if you want to give student turns. But this is the spinner, the programmable spinner, which I can use to play bingo, right? So you can say angry, happy, sad, scared, worried, and so forth. Proud. And you can save these spinners as well for future sessions in your objects. Again, I'm not going to cover that, but you can put this here. And now I'll invite you. So I'll invite all you guys so you can join as a student. If you click the link that is in the Zoom chat, you will get this page, and then we can play bingo together, right? And then you can see as people join, this one starts to populate, right? And then either you can play bingo using a pen, or actually I can give you maybe St. Patrick's Day stickers to cover things with. Right? And then remember, the students cannot move things that you put, so we can enable student clone. You can just use the select tool to say enable student clone. And then you can use the move and resize tool. If you drag any of these three St. Patrick Day objects, it will make a copy automatically if you use the move and resize tool from here. And then if you spin, if I spin or any of you spin, I allowed you to spin as well. You'll see that all the students can start putting in the bingo tiles. So that's pretty much it. And the cool thing is that you as a teacher, you can actually watch all the students as they're playing live, right? As they're playing bingo, you can see which ones are winning, which ones are not winning, who's lagging behind. You can help them or do some cheating to call out things that will help them to engage better. So anything, this is the most powerful thing to build engagement with the kids, to see what they're doing, how they're working. So that's how it all works, right? And with the paid plan, you also get these engagement numbers on top. You can actually see which students are engaging, which ones are not engaging with the sessions, and you can actually download reports and stuff as well to see which students are not engaging with the lessons and so forth. We have been told with Whiteboard.chat, because students are working in their own thing, students are much more comfortable engaging with it versus even being in class and raising their hands and talking out loud. So I'll stop here and see if you have questions or comments or stuff. Otherwise, I'll post the recording as well, but we can do some question and answers here. So the main differences between a free plan and a paid plan. So the free plan, for example, after a week, it starts to show ads. That's one main difference. The second main difference I would say is that the boards expire. So if I were to go to, let me open the subscription page. I don't remember all the things, but the boards expire. So in 7 days, your boards will, all your work gets deleted on its own. You have to keep refreshing it if you want to keep extending it. With the paid plans, you get, especially with these two, you get indefinite life, right? So you can save your work forever. There's also video conferencing. Audio video conferencing is only available with the paid plans. There's no audio video conferencing with the free plan. And now I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you for coming here. I'll be here for 20 more minutes if you want to ask specific questions, or if you want me to repeat stuff, I'll be happy to do that.